Joe, it's great to have you on the show. Welcome.
I'm so glad to join you.
Joe, open source means different things to different people. What does it mean to you?
Oh wow. I think open source is fundamentally a positive sum game, and I think this is what's so great about our industry in general is that it's really one of the imagination of how can we have folks come together and do something that wasn't possible before. And I think open source is really fascinating in my point of view because it gets a lot of folks that care about something that are coming from different directions with different expectations and different needs. They find common cause and create something that wouldn't have otherwise been created. And so that idea of like I bring something, you bring something, somebody else brings something, and we create something that's greater than the sum of the parts. That positive sum game is really what open source is about for me.
So you're hinting more at the community aspect of open source rather than the open source aspect of open source. It's not the code being open source that's the material aspect here.
Yeah, I think community is fundamentally what's at the heart of open source in so many different ways. And it really comes, and the more senior I become as an engineer, the more I recognize that the hard problems aren't technical. And so a big part of this is that you end up with a set of folks that feel ownership over that project in certain ways. And when somebody feels ownership and when it evokes an emotional response, that actually creates, community that creates things that aren't possible before. When you think about great branding, right? Like Nike, Apple, these top level brands, they evoke an emotional response. And the people that are actually buying those products, working with those companies, they feel a connection there. They feel ownership over that brand. It becomes part of their identity. And I think open source is a way to do that also, both to sort of motivate people to come together to do great things. But I also think there's opportunities to make sure that you can, in a smart and respectful way, use that to your advantage as you're looking to build a business.